What exactly is sports psychology? It is a study of psychological aspects of sports and may address any aspect of athletes' or performers' lives, competitive or otherwise, to assist them in their performance in life endeavors. Some common jobs that can be pursued with a psychology major is fitness instructors and recreation workers, sports instructor, coaches, physical education teacher, athletic trainers, and sport reporter. And if you pursue a sports psychology degree in either a PhD or a master's program, you can become a sports psychologist. Overall, the job market and to pursue a degree in these areas is not very challenging. They have been on the rise for a long time because they are always needed, and there's some flexibility to them because of the educational requirements of only having a bachelor's for most of these jobs.
Hi, my name is Madison, and I will be going over the concentration overview. With a bachelor's in psychology, you can be a coach or a recreational sports planner for a camp or a cruise. If you have a master's, you can become a teacher, a nutritionist, or even a health specialist. If you have a doctorate in psychology, you can become a sports psychologist. Some influential people in the field are Coleman Roberts Griffith. He is considered the father of sports psychology and started the first athletics research lab. Dr. Joanne won the 1980 San Francisco Marathon in 2 hours, 43 minutes, and 20 seconds, one of the top times ever recorded by a woman in U.S. history. She also went back to school for sports psychology with her doctorate. She had written several books and is a psychological coach for 5 Olympic gold medalists. Some additional sources I would recommend are Mental Combat, The Sports Psychology Secrets You Can Use to Dominate Any Event by Phil Pierce. It has 5 stars and it's also cheap as well. A podcast that could be helpful is the Sports Psychology Podcast, Get Psyched for Sports by Dr. Patrick J. Cohn. It is all about sports psychology and has 4.5 stars. Some additional sources I would recommend are Mental Combat, The Sports Psychology Secrets You Can Use to Dominate Any Event by Phil Pierce. It has 5 stars and it's also cheap as well. A podcast that could be helpful is the Sports Psychology Podcast, Get Psyched for Sports by Dr. Patrick J. Cohn. It is all about sports psychology and has 4.5 stars.
One example of an entry-level position is an exercise trainer. They're responsible for offering exercises in each class that'll be accommodated to each individual's different levels of fitness. It's really important that the exercise trainer can plan fitness routines and choose appropriate music. Trainers are also responsible for understanding the different muscle groups and choosing movements and exercises to cater to each one. They also must evaluate the needs and abilities of each individual client, as a very important part of their position is to develop suitable programs to accommodate each person's needs and or abilities. They are also responsible for monitoring each client's individual progress and making any changes to their future fitness plan moving forward if they deem that is necessary. In order to do this, exercise trainers must be very capable in correcting individuals if necessary and observing any gaps in their abilities or skills. There are several necessary skills and abilities that an exercise trainer must display in order to be successful in their profession. It's very important that they're skilled in instructing their clients and do well at teaching them how to complete certain exercises. It's also very important that they display high levels of social perceptiveness, as a large part of this profession is reading clients well and meeting their needs in order to properly motivate them. They also must be skilled in verbal communication, as it's important to be able to clearly communicate any goals or workouts, especially to avoid injury. As far as abilities go, it's important that the trainer is athletic. For example, body coordination, stamina, strength, and flexibility are all qualities that an exercise trainer must have in order to properly instruct their clients. There are a few routes one can take in terms of education if they wish to pursue a career in exercise training. The first and least intensive level of education would be to pursue a secondary certificate after high school. This is offered by the National Academy of Sports Medicine. The second level of education is an associate's degree in physical training, which is typically only 2 years, and you can see some examples of the necessary coursework listed below. And the last and most intensive educational route someone can take is a bachelor's degree in either physical training or psychology, and you can see some coursework examples listed below as well. The median salary for an exercise trainer is around $48,000 a year, and the top 10% make over $70,000 a year. In terms of job outlook, there is a projected increase between 2016 and 2026 of 10%, and some related careers are an aerobics instructor, fitness instructor, yoga instructor, fitness specialist, a group exercise instructor, or a fitness coordinator.
For a mid-level role, I chose to research an athletic trainer. Responsibilities of an athletic trainer include working to keep athletes healthy, identifying, diagnosing, and rehabilitating any injuries that athletes may have, providing first aid and emergency care on athletic fields and during competitions, so just applying like protective or preventative bandages and coverings, applying the ice to injuries, etc. They're also responsible for creating and implementing rehabilitation programs for injured athletes, and they're also involved in administrative planning. Education and experience requirements for an athletic trainer include a college major in athletic training, a college minor or double major in psychology. It's not required, but it is encouraged. They're also required to take the exam to become a certified athletic trainer, and a bachelor or master's degree in athletic training is also required. Skills that an athletic trainer should have include good evaluation skills, ability to perform in high-stress situations, communication skills, empathy and compassion, and patience and persistence. There is a large range in salary for athletic trainers, depending on things like degree levels and geographical locations, but the median salary for an athletic trainer is about $46,630. The job outlook for an athletic trainer is very strong, and it's above average. It's expected to grow by 23% by 2026. Related careers for an athletic trainer would be anything that's in the sports industry. So examples could be a physical therapist, an athletic director, a coach, or an athletic program development director.
Hi, my name is Samantha Hauser, and for a senior level position, I chose a performance psychologist. Some of the responsibilities include identifying positive mindsets to enhance optimal performance, and this can be done through consultations, counseling, and psych evaluations. They also conduct a lot of research, and this is in order to develop toolkits that are tailored to each individual client. They also train them and teach them more healthy habits in order to increase consistency, and this is because they perform at such high levels that this allows them to learn grounding techniques, learn how to cope with stress, and to also keep balance in their life as well. The required education and experience is a PhD, a psychology license, and research experience, just because research is such a core part of this career. Some of the recommended courses are kinesiology, physiology, sports medicine, business, and marketing courses on top of your psych degree, just because you can go into the entertainment industry with this, you can work for a big company with this, you can also work for a college or a professional sports team as well. The skills that are essential for this job include communication, goal setting, team building, time management, and anxiety management. The salary is typically from $60,000 to $80,000, but depending on how big the college or corporation you're working for, it could be well over $100,000. The job outlook is actually very good, and in the past few years, it's increased by 14%, and annually it also generates about $400 billion. Some of the related careers that I found to be similar are performance enhancement consultant, and this is essentially the same job, but you just don't have a PhD, so you can't do a lot of the counseling, and it's a lot less hands-on. And also an athletic director, I found the careers to be pretty similar, but athletic directors are just more aimed towards organizational instead of individuals.
As far as geographic considerations go, jobs in the sports psychology field can be found almost anywhere where sports teams would be located. Examples would be high school teams, college teams, professional league teams, etc. Opportunities for UC students in the sports psychology realm include classes like sports psychology, health psychology, interpersonal relations, health and nutrition courses, etc. As far as experiences and opportunities go, things like a research assistant or an internship with a university sports team is offered at University of Cincinnati.
I'm currently interested in continuing TAing until I finish my degree. Once I have that, I would like to go to graduate school and gain a position of a substitute teacher so I can become a professor. I would like to stay in the Cincinnati area, but I'm open to anywhere within 2 hours. I plan on working on creating connections with people and that are connected in my field. My SMART goal that can be related to my professional and career development is to be realistic. I need to be obsessing what's realistic for me to achieve. I also need to be aware that I can and cannot do so. I can take opportunities for myself that I know are realistic for me to compete while still challenging myself. I would say I'm more interested in sports psychology, honestly. I had never seen myself doing anything with sports psychology because I'm not into sports, but there are a lot of cool opportunities and a wide umbrella of options. I would like to be a recreational planner of activities at a camp or a country club or even a cruise. It sounds like a lot of fun and is easygoing.
Hi, it's Samantha Hauser again, and my current career interests are clinical psychology, research, counseling, and social work. Some of the geographic locations I'm interested in are Washington, Colorado, Maine, and Chicago, but are not limited to those. Those are just definitely places I could see myself living, but I'm pretty much open to anything. My future involvement and opportunities include graduate school, which I'm applying for the Plus One program right now. So hopefully in my gap semester, I'll be able to get an internship and volunteer some. And then after grad school, I would like to pursue getting my PhD. Some skills that I can definitely work on are my digital skills. I want to be a lot more familiar using database and different statistical analysis applications. And I'm conversational in Spanish, but I would really like to get it to the point where I can speak fluently with a native speaker. My SMART goal is to find a career path that is relevant to me, I'm a good fit for, and I've developed the necessary skills for. And this is just because I don't want to be in a career that feels like it's way above me. I want to feel qualified and competent in my job, and I would like to keep making decisive choices that will get me closer to finding a good fit for me. My interest in sports psychology has actually decreased after this. I just realized that I wasn't really that interested in doing anything with sports anymore. I thought I was, but I just realized that I couldn't actually see myself doing any of these jobs, and it seems like a lot of student debt with very little payoff.
For my individual reflection, I chose to focus my career interests in clinical psychology, lawyer, and developmental psychology. The geographical locations I chose was New York City, Washington, D.C., Seattle, Washington, and Chicago. My future involvement is going to be either in a PhD program, master's program, going to law school, getting an internship, or research assistantship, and/or volunteering. I would really like to work on some digital skills of mine and creating more connections throughout my major and my network for jobs. I'm hoping to be doing that in the future more. Next is my SMART goal. I want to find a volunteer spot in a law office for this summer. To do this, I'm going to reach out to 3 different offices I have connections with and ask to volunteer there. I want to volunteer for 5 to 10 hours a week over the summer to learn valuable information and to get involved with our law system to get experience of what it would like to be in the future. I'm hoping this experience will give me some ideas of what I would and would not want to do. Lastly, my interest in sports psychology has overall kind of decreased because I realize I'm just really more interested in doing social justice and social work. And I know you can do that somewhat with sports psychology, but I really want to focus on those 2 aspects for my future aspirations.
My career interests include clinical, counseling, experimental, and developmental psychology. Right now, I'm pretty set on clinical, however. Some geographical locations that I've prioritized looking into are North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida, and Ohio. In the future, I'd like to get involved in more research labs, master's and PhD programs, volunteering, and internships. A few gaps in my skill set I'd like to fill are learning behavioral programming and creating some more connections within my field. My SMART goal is to spend my senior year creating a senior thesis. I'd like to do it about eating disorders, as this aligns super closely with my personal research interests, and this is very important in grad school and PhD applications. As for my interest in sports psychology, I would say that it remained the same before and after this project. I've always thought that it was a really cool area of psychology, but I've been pretty set on doing clinical, but it was interesting to learn about the different positions.
For my future career, I'm interested in the industrial and organizational psychology field as well as the sports psychology field. For geographical location, I would like to live in either Ohio, North Carolina, South Carolina, Colorado, or Tennessee. For future involvement, I plan on being a research assistant, finding an internship, volunteering, and eventually getting into a master's or PhD program. Some skill gaps that I would need to work on include limited digital skills and establishing connections with companies that I would like to work with. For my SMART goal, I want to have an internship and experience in research by the time I am finished with undergrad, and I think that this will help me prepare and make myself more competitive for a master's or PhD program. Overall, my interest in sports psychology has increased because I already had a strong interest coming into this project. I could really see myself doing some of the jobs mentioned, and I think I would enjoy getting to work alongside athletes and sports teams.